All right, Padres, they win game 2 in Seattle. A wild game, a game that I think Padres fans would say shouldn't have been that wild. It was a 5-0 lead at one point, but with Dylan Cease, something's going to happen. It's been happening a lot this season, it feels like, and these last couple of starts where maybe it wasn't his last start, but it was the start before that, whenever, pitches well and then gives up a couple homers, and it sours how we feel about the outing. It ends up still like when you look at the full outing, it's like Dylan Cease was really good for the majority of it. Like, great. But what matters is the scoreboard and how many runs do you allow. And tonight, for example, it was another one of those where Dylan Cease, he actually pitched really well to start things off, four consecutive scoreless innings, and then gives up the 3-run homer to Randy Rosarena. That ball was smacked. He crapped on that ball. Gives up the homer, meatball, and then right there it's 5-3, and it's like, all right, this got a whole lot more interesting than we wanted it to be. And then actually Jason Adam comes in the fifth inning. I know it's still weird to say Jason Adam coming in the fifth inning, but whenever that happens, I'm like, yep, that's a must-win game for the Padres because clearly when your first, remember, this was their first All-Star reliever. It was Jason Adam. It was not Adrian Morejon. Wasn't Robert Suarez. So he comes into the game in the fifth freaking inning. Yeah, go win that game. You're playing with urgency. You're playing like this is a playoff game. And I get it. When you have a 5-0 lead, like, you don't want to lose that game. Now they lost that lead though. Jason Adam gives up a home run, so a couple 3-run homers for the Mariners. That one though, like, it wasn't even inside the strike zone. Could it have been lower outside? Sure. So you can critique it that way, but it wasn't even a strike. And I think that the Mariners probably knew what was coming though. I thought I saw Darnay Tripp tweet it was 7 consecutive sliders there from Jason Adams. So, when you throw 6 in a row, you're probably going to be sitting on a slider to do that. And that's what Eugenio Suarez did and hits it out. But I loved how the Padres came back. First off, I love how they got out to a 5-0 lead, obviously. Ramón Laureano. Where would the Padres be without Ramón Laureano? And where would they be without AJ Preller? Because Preller's obviously the one that is pulling the strings there. But man, not a move that got the headlines on deadline day. That move being Mason Miller, because the Padres traded their number one prospect. I haven't heard anything about Leo DeVry since then, by the way. Um, so, like, sure, we could in 3 to 4 years, but it just goes to me saying, like, they're trying to win now. So appreciate that and just be all in on this team winning right now because that's the whole goal of the sport. So I'm trying to have fun with this. We'll see what the results end up being. But anyway, Laureano, O'Hearn, right? Both of those guys have been great for the Padres. So, yeah, Ramon with the granny, and he robbed a homer the other day. We know he has a strong arm. He can play all three defensive outfield positions. I mean, this guy is he's been so good. I actually, shout out to the fan on Instagram that DM'd me and wanted to start a petition to move Ramon Laureano up in the lineup. And I was like, that's actually a good idea. My petition's not going to mean anything, but it's funny. And so I did post the link on Twitter and on my Instagram story to if you want to vote on that. But yeah, like Laureano, he's the best 7 hitter in baseball. I don't even have to look at the other ones because I bet you this other 7 hitters in baseball don't have a 914 OPS. They're not hitting 300. In the month of August, because MLB.com, they update their numbers immediately, unlike Baseball Reference, which is annoying. In August here, let's see. August, he's hitting 321 with a 957 OPS. And it's August 26th. So it's not like I'm doing this on August 7th and I'm like, in the month of August, he's doing this. He's a Hall of Famer. No, it's a pretty good sample size here. August is almost up. So he's mashing. Him hitting 7th, like, there's an argument to it, right? Because Schilt loves the right. That's why, like, people that bring up him hitting 2nd, well, then you're going to have to move Manny. You're going to have to move Tatis because we know that Schilt is not going to go 3 consecutive right-handed hitters. That's not happening. So you do have to be a little bit realistic there because right now you got to, and with no Merrill, like, it would be one thing if you put Merrill too. Maybe you, like, I don't think if you're Schilt, probably not moving Tatis out of the leadoff spot. And if you are, it would be to just slide him to the 2 spot and have Arise lead. Like Schilt, he loves having Arise there at the top of the order. So as much as we can say, like, move Laureano up to second or something, because Arise doesn't have an OPS anywhere near what Tatis is at, or what Manny's at, or what Ryan O'Hearn is at, right? He's at 706. We can say that all we want, but we do have to be realistic about it. But Laureano, he could move up in the order still. Like, why can't he be hitting in? Now, Xander's been, I think, good at points this year, for sure. Why can't he be in that spot as a right-handed hitter? He's one of the Padres' best hitters. That's just what it is. So him hitting seventh, I want him getting like the most at bats that he can get, the way he's swinging the bat. But Padres win this game. That's what matters the most. Coming back in this game, so Arozarena, craps on that ball. Suarez with the homer. Crony ties it up with a single. Freddie Fermin. It's funny. I feel like a lot of people are like, yeah, all I do. My mom was saying this tonight. I think all he does is bunt. I always see him bunting. And I'm like, that's where he's hitting in the order. And I think in that situation, it was first and third and less than 2 outs. Yeah, I think no outs in that situation. That was the first out of the inning. That situation, it calls for the bunt. You're not trying to be the hero there. What you could do in that situation is you ground into a double play, and now you got 2 outs in the inning, and maybe you still have the 7-6 lead because there's a runner on third. Or what if you hit a grounder to short and shortstop throws it home, and now you don't even have a runner on third base, and you've got it out. So you didn't put yourself in a great position there. So, and Freddie Fermin is great at it. It's not like they're just having anyone go up there and bunt. Like he's good at it. So totally fine with that. I know there's been situations where some people haven't been happy with those decisions, but in that situation, for sure. So, another thing I wanted to hit on, Jeremiah Estrada coming in this game. Jason Adam pitches the 5th, so it kind of limits your options there in that 8th inning because Suarez got the 9th, and you got Mason Miller, who it was a little bit of a roller coaster there, but he gets through it. Estrada comes in the 8th, and I wasn't worried at all. I know people may be like, well, Ben, easy for you to say after the inning, but I really wasn't. He's not facing the Dodgers. He is a totally different pitcher when he faces the Dodgers. When he doesn't face the Dodgers, he's like one of the best relievers you can have. So, yeah, I was totally fine. He allowed, 1 base runner on the hit? Okay. Got a strikeout. His ERA is 3.13, and that's with him being terrible against the Dodgers. That's with him having like a 18 ERA against the Dodgers. And he's at a 3.13. So, that just shows how great he's been against everybody else. So, if they're facing the Dodgers, don't know if I want to go to Jeremiah Estrada. If they're facing another team in the postseason, it's like you put him right in there in that big 5. If facing the Dodgers, maybe you put David Morgan in that. Just saying. Alec Jacob was called up today, by the way, so good for him there. But yeah, just overall, some good offense, some good just decision making, I would say, on the part of Mike Schilt in this game. I'm fine with Dylan Cease not getting through 5. When you have a 5-0 lead and he gives up a 3-run homer, you get him out of there because you got the bullpen to do it. Especially with the bullpen situation going into the game. I post the bullpen chart every day. You had Suarez and Miller on 3 days rest. You had Adam on 2, Morahone on 2. Like, yeah, you're going to pitch those guys. Estrada had a day of rest. Like, yeah, go after it. This is the situation to go after it. They're all rested. So totally fine with that. And Dylan Cease, still don't trust him in a huge game. So nothing's changed there. The Padres 75-58, and they're waiting on Jackson Merrill and Michael King. Kevin Acee in his Padres Daily today said the plan is for Michael King to pitch in another simulated game or make a minor league rehab start before making his next major league start. So he won't be starting on Sunday at Target Field against the Twins, obviously. That's a series you got to win if you're the Padres. The Twins traded like 10 guys before the deadline. Let's go win that series, please. Hopefully even sweep. But Michael King, maybe there's a discussion like, why have him go a simulated game? Why give him a rehab start? You're just wasting bullets. But maybe this is a situation where it's smart for him to do this because when he came back and then he gets hurt with the knee, right? I think that's what it is, the knee. Um, he was even admitting that, yeah, I probably pushed it a little too much. And he said, I think before the Dodgers start or after that scratch start, it could have started, but I would have been hurting the entire time. So maybe having him not pitch in a big league game where then maybe you set back the bullpen a day if he can't finish the first inning or something. Maybe that's the better thing to do. And like a sim game, for example, that might even be better for me personally than a minor league rehab start because at least you're in a controllable environment, complete control. You can stop whenever you want to. Where in a minor league game, it's obviously official rules and baseball being played. Padres expect Jackson Merrill to return during the series against the Twins, so that's good news. I think his first day back with doing some baseball activity was today. I did see a tweet on that. He had not been doing, as of Kevin's newsletter this morning, he had not been doing that. But I did see an update that he was doing something today. So there's that. So some positive news. I actually think both of those are positive. Like I'd rather have the Padres be safe with Michael King than rush him back to face the Twins. So yeah, pretty positive news, I'd say. Positive day for if you're a Padres fan, that's for sure. Vetter Cup. I know I've it's been a little bit since I've done a video, so I could actually give some thoughts on the Dodgers series real quick, and this whole Vetter Cup thing. Dodger series, just real quick. I think, look, it's great they took the series. I know it was disappointing that they lost that final game, obviously, and they had the lead, and you know, did they have the lead? It was yeah, they did. Yeah, they had the lead. It was close. They had a lead in the sixth inning. It was it was close, and there were some decisions that I saw some people definitely not liking, like continuing to throw Jeremiah Estrada out there, and that is definitely something where I'm like, yep, that's a valid point. But when you take a series at home against the Dodgers, like ultimately that was the job, and you did it. The sweep would have been great, but I'm fine with the series win. And I think with the Padres' remaining schedule, I think it's the easiest left in baseball. Definitely one of the easiest. You play better than the Dodgers the rest of the way. I think they can, and you win the division. So let's just go do that. So yeah, that's what I got on that. I thought the Otani thing with that fan that was hilarious. I know we hate Joey Otani, right? We're Padres fans, but like that was funny. I'll admit that was funny. The Padres fan, I guess, was chirping him like all game, and Otani then hits a bomb off Matsui, and he comes in and he's giving he comes in like daps up the Padres fan that's sitting right there, and I saw something that he paid for those seats for that fan or something. So that's pretty cool. They're human beings too. As much as I want to, you know, not say anything positive about any Dodgers players, they are human beings too. Still hate the Dodgers, obviously. The whole Vetter Cup thing, I couldn't care less. It's one of those things when I hear someone say they're trying to say they could not care less, but they say I could care less. That's one of my things where I'm like, do you realize what you're saying? So you're saying that you could care less. So that means you care. No. How you're actually supposed to say it is couldn't care less. I couldn't care less about the Vetter Cup. Who cares? It's something that I think is kind of stupid, to be quite honest. The only thing that I like about it is that it's going to a good cause. They had Eddie Vedder on the broadcast today. The guy next to him like didn't talk at all, but they had Eddie on there, and great, whatever. It's not a rivalry. Fans are literally like trolling it because it's not a rivalry. Uh, Players don't care. I probably can guarantee you that. Coaching staff is like Better Cup, okay. Who cares? And yeah, it's a good cause, so I'm on board for it. But I don't need to hear all this talk about the Better Cup. Who freaking cares? That's what I've got. Tomorrow, Padres, Mariners, before the Padres then go to Minnesota and face off against a Twins team that is not the same as it was earlier this season.